you all had a wonderful summer. So again, I just want to welcome you all. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us tonight. So just a couple of things. We're gonna go over our kind of housekeeping rules. Angie, if you could pull that up for me, please.
It's up.
Oh. Hold on, I gotta change my view, I guess, because I am not seeing it. Yeah, I am not seeing it, Angie. So no, I don't want to exit.
I don't see it
So
either.
the housekeeping rules for this evening is that during question and answer periods, please raise your hand. There should be a button on your screen that will allow you to raise and lower your hand when appropriate, and we will call you when we have time to address your question. We ask that you keep your comments brief, focus, and eliminate all background noise. You'll have 30 seconds to answer a question. Limit your response to one question. Additional questions should be placed in the chat. And additional questions will also be responded to as time allows. Please remain muted unless you are speaking. This will help to eliminate the distraction of background noises. No shouting or inappropriate language, and please refrain from rude or disrespectful language. And we ask that you please follow all the above. We want to avoid having to mute anyone or respectfully removing you from the meeting tonight.
Yes. So can everybody see me?
No.
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 We can't see you, Barbara.
No.
What?
There we
Can you
go.
see?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now we
Okay.
can see you.
Yay!
Yeah.
Okay. I just got a text. Thanks, you, Shanna. I wasn't aware that my camera wasn't on. But anyway, welcome again to program year 2022-2023. Just a couple of announcements. As you all know, with the start of a program year, it is time to pay dues. We really need your support this year. So please pay your dues. For anybody that is new on the call, individual dues are $10, family dues would be $15, and then we do have a corporate dues sponsorship, which is $50. You can, there are membership forms that we will actually start leaving at the rec centers for people that maybe, can't get online, but you can pay your dues online. So again, we appreciate all of you all. So please support us in paying your dues. We're also a 501c3, so you're more than welcome to make whatever donation you see fit to LRCA, because these your dues, as you know, go to support events that we have in the community, but most importantly to our scholarships. So thank you for that. Another big announcement I want to make is that in 2023, LRCA will be celebrating 75 years. And so we are planning a big event. So pay your dues so you can be a part of the 75th anniversary. But yes, so details are forthcoming. If you'd like to be a part of the 75th anniversary committee, please just reach out to us to be a part of that. Let's see what else I got. We do have a change to the agenda. On the agenda, we had the budget review and approval, and that actually will happen at the November meeting. So I need a motion that we make an adjustment to the agenda to remove that item. Can I get a motion?
Motion to remove.
All right. Thank you for that. And can I get someone to second?
Second.
I second.
Okay, so Angie, if you could unmute people, all in favor of this to remove the budget review approval item from the agenda, can you please say aye?
Aye.
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 Any noes, nays? Any abstentions? Very good. So we will remove that item from the 2022 agenda. So we are going to get right in. Again, I've done the welcome. At this time, I'm going to ask Reverend Paul if he would provide the invocation.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Father God, we thank you so much for how you have kept us. We thank you for how you have protected us from all harm and danger. We mostly thank you for allowing us to stay in your presence, even when we resume this season of meeting and agreeing and discussing the needs of this community. We give you all the glory and all the praise for allowing us to be able to reason together. Now, God, we ask you to continue to bless those who are afflicted, those who are affected by the catastrophic atmospheric weather conditions down in Florida and all over the world. We ask you to bless each and every participant on this committee, on this team. Bless our president in a mighty special way. And most of all, keep us all blessed and keep us and we shall be kept. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Just a couple of other things. I really want to thank all of you all that have made our first program year a success. I can't name all of you all, but I want to say thank you. I do want to give a special thanks to a couple of people, which is Tanya Slade and Harrison Beecher. And for those of you all who don't know, they sponsor our newsletter and they've been doing it for a few years here. And so I really just want to thank them for continuing to support LRCA. As we look to continue to serve our community. I want to thank our committee chairs. We have some great committee chairs that have done work over the summer and will have some great events coming up this year. I do want to continue to encourage people, if you have any community concerns that can't be discussed here, as our meeting is only an hour and 45 minutes, you can always reach out to us. The phone number is 202-838-6058, and I will ask either Angie or Tish to put that in the chat. You can also send us an email at ask@lrcadc.org. So we are always here. We've gotten community concerns and we have been able to assist residents with their community concerns. Okay, so we're going to move quickly with the officers' reports. Our treasurer, Audrey, could not be here tonight. So Tisha, who is our financial secretary, will actually give the treasurer's report. Tish, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm sorry, good evening. I'm all over the place, community. Our treasurer's report is our beginning balance is $10,355.32. $3,023.38 was spent on expenses with $15 deposit. Ending balance is $7,346.94. And that is the end of our treasurer's report. Back to you, President.
Thank you so much, Tisha Cockrell. Are there any questions on the treasurer's report? If not, can I get a motion to accept the treasurer's report as it was just detailed by Tisha Cockrell, our financial secretary?
I make a motion that the treasurer's report be accepted as reporting.
I second.
I second.
All right, Angie, can we get an unmute of everyone? All those in favor of accepting the treasurer's report as it was just announced by Tisha Cockrell, can you say aye?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? So the motion was passed, and we will move on to the minutes. The minutes were actually in the newsletter on page 3, as they always are. These would be the June 2022 meeting minutes that was on June 6, 2022. Any questions on the minutes that were printed in the June newsletter? If not, can I get a motion to accept the minutes as they were printed in the June 2022 newsletter?
There's one hand raised. Barbara.
Oh, it is? Tish, can you?
Is
Deborah
Deborah?
Brewstead has her hand raised because
Yes.
there's a minor correction under A and C reports for 5A08. It says anticipate updates from Our Place at Fort Totten. The name of the development is Art Place, ART, not Our, OUR.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Deborah.
You're welcome.
All right. Can we get a motion to accept these minutes with the correction that was just discussed by Deborah?
Motion to accept with the correction.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Can someone mute their phone? Or Angie, can you mute that person?
I second to accept the minutes. With the
Okay,
correction.
all right, so we have a motion and a second to accept the minutes as in with the correction from the June 6, 2022 newsletter. Angie, if you can unmute everybody, all in favor say aye.
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 Any nays?
Aye.
Any abstentions? All right, so it's been moved and second that we accept the minutes with the correction as printed in the June 2022 newsletter. All right, so we're gonna move right through the agenda. Do we have any mochas here from the mayor's office? As you all may or may not know, Anthony Mitchell, who was the mocha from the mayor's office, actually is, Angie, someone has noise in the back.
You knew that. I don't think a responsible. If you could just wait 1 second, I'm gonna mute everyone and just unmute yourself, Barbara, once you hear the mute go through.
Okay. Okay, that's better. Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Okay, what I was saying was that Anthony Mitchell, who has been a mocha for, the last year and a half or so, actually left. And so they have not yet filled his position. But I do understand that Miss Escobar, who was the other 4 mocha liaison, will be filling in, but is she on the call? Okay, we did send her the information, so hopefully they will replace Anthony. That will be hard to do, but we hope they get a replacement, and then we'll have someone here at the November meeting. Do we have someone here from Councilmember Louis George's office?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Escadar Germash. I'm part of the constituent services team and have some community and legislative updates for you all.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Escobar. Welcome. I know you're fairly new. You've been with the council's office a few months, is that correct?
Yes, I actually started August 15th. So yes, fairly new.
Okay, well, welcome, welcome, and I will turn it over to you now.
Great. First, we wanted to thank all LRCA members for showing up to Care Day at Lamont-Riggs Rec Center. Sorry, I'm in my car, I was driving. But we knocked on 50 doors and we had a resource fair where we were able to get community members information regarding housing, DCRA issues, and we flagged a lot of DDOT issues as well. We had our partner, Christian from DDOT, walk around the neighborhood with Commissioner Huff and I, and we noted down some issues that neighbors have registered to our office, specifically around the Chick-fil-A area and also around the schools. So we wanted to thank you all for your partnership on that and the work that is undergoing with DDOT. We also wanted to thank everyone for their participation in Art All Night and the Fit Lot Open, both things that the council member was present at last week, and great community outreach in those areas. Coming up this Thursday, we have our Care Day at Petworth. It'll be right off 8th and Taylor Street at the Rec Center. It'll be in a similar fashion of knocking on neighbors' doors, also having a resource fair. So if you know any folks out in Petworth, please let them know about that. Today, we just printed out our first issue of the senior newsletter. As you may know, the council member has a Friday newsletter that goes out via email every week. This newsletter will be mailed to those without email addresses and seniors in our community members. It'll have the similar community and legislative updates as well as information more relevant to seniors. I wanted to let folks know about two important hearings coming up. On October 21st, we have the Clean Collections Bill hearing. This legislation is in response to rodent issues as well as sanitation trash issues, specifically around apartment complexes in the district. So we're trying to get DPW to pay attention to these issues, issue notices when trash bins will be collected, and also have a process for replacing bins that are taken up. We also have seen an issue of bins not being serviced, specifically in alleys and apartment complexes. So that's something that this bill will address, and we would love community support if you have any lived experiences in that matter. On November 17th, we have the Green New Deal for social housing hearing to support affordable housing and green energy in the district. Happy to forward resources on these issues. And I see that my time is up, but if you have any questions or concerns you'd like to flag for the council member or our office, I'm happy to take those. I can also put my contact information in the chat.
Okay, thank you so much. Ms. Escobar, did you mention the Senior Jubilee?
Yes, that'll be November 19th.
Okay.
I'm happy to drop registration information for that. You don't necessarily have to register. We just wanted to get a head count of how many folks will be present. And this will be similar to our Care Days, where we will have Department of Aging and Living, DCRA, housing resources specific for seniors. It's more of a resource fair, also a celebration, also getting seniors to know how they can be in contact with the council member's office and key district agencies.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Please put your information in the chat, and that way people will know how to contact you. Thank you so much. Okay, we're moving right along because we have two speakers today and we want to allow them time to provide us with an update. I did hear from some of our ANC commissioners and that could not make it. But is Allison Brooks on?
I am, yes.
Hi, Allison. You want to give us an update?
Sure. We met, the commission met, excuse me, last week. I'm sorry, let me turn my camera on. Can you see me now? Okay, I'm assuming that you can see me. It asked me to click something. We met last week on Wednesday because of the Rosh Hashanah holiday. So that was unusual. This month, we will be back to meeting on the fourth Monday of the month at 7 p.m. One of the most important events of last week's meeting was a presentation by DDOT where they discussed their plan to install a cycle track on Riggs Road between First Place, which is the entrance/exit of the subways from the subway station, down to South Dakota Avenue. So they want to take what is currently the right turn only lane, turn that into a cycle lane, a cycle track, which they will end just before the light so that there's still time for cars to get over to the right-hand side. And that then the cycle track will bear off to the right through the current green space that's at the corner. Technically, this is a 5A street, side of the street. 4B ends on the other side of the street. But because we are adjacent to this project, they presented at our ANC as well. Because it's bordering this project, we also get to weigh in. And so I'd be interested in hearing from residents about their thoughts about adding a bike lane, so to speak, on Riggs Road. So if you weren't available to hear that presentation, our meetings are recorded and you can watch it on our website, which is anc4b.org. Or you can reach out to me and I can share more information with you about the project. The goal of the city is to have to reduce automobile traffic by 75% over the next 10 years. And so to do that, they want to install more bike lanes to encourage more people to ride bikes in the city. So again, that is why you're looking at providing a bike lane right there and connecting the Metro Branch Trail to South Dakota Avenue and to other avenues through other areas of the trail throughout the city. In addition to that, we heard from all of the main streets in Ward 4. I believe Mr. Washington is on the call, so I won't give an update because I'm sure he'll be able to provide one if needed. But we were able to hear about all of the great things that they're doing and share that with the community as well. I think that sums up as much as I could in my 3-minute time. So I'll stop right there and take any questions.
Any questions for Allison? And I also, if Miss Escobar is still on the line, did we have any questions from her from Council Member Louis George's office?
There's questions in the chat. Also, Silas Grant is on the call.
Yes, Silas will be next.
But I will read the question that I just saw. Is there a concern about increasing emissions from the cars that will be idle because of the aggressive plan to reduce cars? That is from Mimi Richardson.
Not that I've been notified of. This is definitely idling car emissions is definitely not my area of expertise, but that's not something that's come up. In fact, they think that that by increasing bike traffic and foot traffic, they're reducing car emissions because there are less cars on the road. That's about all I can offer you with regard to that. And I do want to add, I didn't say this when I was telling you about the plan. My response at the meeting was, there are so many other projects that relate to DDOT that we've asked them to accomplish that don't seem to have priority. I wanted to understand why they were able to fast track this project and get it accomplished before the spring. And so I'm still waiting to hear back from DDOT with regard to that. The 3rd Street corridor is an area that I've focused my attention on now for 4 years, and they constantly reroute those efforts and tell me they need one more thing or they're waiting on one more thing before they can address it. So currently we asked to have the median extended along 3rd Street to prevent U-turns coming out of the parking lot of the Walmart And while they said that that was something they would do when they started to witness accidents and problems themselves, they're now waiting for a traffic study to come back from from Chick-fil-A, who's required to to have a traffic study. I think it was 6 months or so after the opening of the location.
Okay, that seems to be the end of the questions.
I have a
Oh.
question. Wait, I have a question. Well, hello,
Yes, who's speaking?
this is Mimi.
Okay, go ahead, Mimi.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, so I do have a concern because we have this project, what is that thing called? Zero something about traffic and fatalities and
Vision Zero.
right, which has apparently not met its target. And I wonder how this new traffic study that Chick-fil-A is going to do, as well as a bike lane going down Riggs Road to South Dakota, is going to help with that, because there's some flaws in this Vision Zero, and they haven't even addressed that yet. And I know DOT claims they do studies, and now they're putting it on Chick-fil-A to do the study. I don't believe anybody's doing any study, because nothing is happening, just like the lines on New Hampshire Avenue to make the left turn on 3rd Street has been waiting since who knows how long. And you know how long.
So you just actually, well, you conflated a bunch of different things. So let me try to separate some of those things. Vision Zero is a national program adopted by every state and the District of Columbia, right? And so, yes, they have targets. I don't know that they've not made their targets, or have made their targets for that matter, in this moment. So I can't speak to their targets and when they've made them and when they haven't. Not in this, at this current moment. I can get that information. The traffic study that Chick-fil-A is required to provide has nothing really to do with Vision Zero. I mean, I guess any traffic issue has something to do with Vision Zero, because Vision Zero is about reducing accidents and fatalities in the city by year umpty-ump. So you could argue that anything having to do with a car or a pedestrian has something to do with Vision Zero. But Chick-fil-A was required to do a study as a part of their opening, because we knew that they would draw a lot more traffic to this area. And so they did one before it opened, and they were required to do another one 6 months later. Because they are preparing that traffic study, DDOT is waiting to receive it before they make these changes. Now, that being said, I also think DDOT is using that as an excuse to kick the can down the road, because the changes should have been made before it ever opened. But I don't think one has to do with Vision Zero in any way. Like, that's just like a subset of a bigger issue, really. With street repair and painting, we've asked for striping on the streets on New Hampshire Avenue. We asked for it from the 5800 block all the way down to the Maryland line. They've not done that yet. It's in the queue. There are 311 requests for that. I'm sure that a Vision Zero argument could be made in that example, but we don't currently have a problem with people driving on the wrong side of the street and implying that they don't know where they're supposed to be because of the striping. Obviously, there should still be striping, but that hasn't caused a problem to date. So I wouldn't lump that into a Vision Zero issue, so to speak. Did I cover everything you asked? I'm sorry, I think I missed one point, one of your questions.
No, I think you got them all.
Okay.
I'm just disappointed in all of the DDOT studies and stuff they were supposed to do over here.
I'm very disappointed in the way DDOT handles this area, and I brought that to their attention, numerous times. And as I've said in this meeting before, for whatever reason, Everett Lott is afraid to come to a 4B meeting. That's my assumption, my interpretation. He's not said he's afraid, he just doesn't show up. We've invited him 3 months in a row, and he was unable to attend at every turn. In June, he did send his deputy director, who made a lot of promises to complete some things, which to date after the end of the summer are not complete. And one of the things that we voted on in the last meeting was another letter to DDOT saying, why is it that you're not responsive to the ANC? And so we're hoping that gets some attention as well.
Okay,
So
thank,
is it
go ahead.
possible that a letter, what do they call that when they do with the police department? Confidence letter they send out about officials be given to him from the ANCs, because that's what it sounds like.
I mean,
Lack of confidence.
it could be. He was just recently confirmed as the director, and we asked people to go and provide testimony, and some did and some didn't. So I don't mean commissioners, I mean residents. So some
Right.
did and some did not. Obviously, he was still confirmed because he's in the seat now. But that is something we could consider, yes.
We actually
And
have a
if I
couple-
could let me just interject here. Again, DDOT was at 5A meeting as well as 4B. We, LRCA, we are going to convene a meeting too, with DDOT. So a lot of these questions, as far as, what DDOT is and is not doing, we can definitely address them. But I really thank Allison for her knowledge in being able to, answer some of these questions. And I know she said she's been working on it for 4 years, but to be honest, we've talked about this, that whole Walmart issue for longer than that, over previous administrations of LRCA. So to get it resolved is well overdue. And so just look out for when we set that meeting with DDOT. And I invite you all to come out and again, express your opinions on everything that will be on the agenda. Okay?
So
There's
go ahead.
several questions in the chat that I think I can answer really quickly if you give me a second.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, so the first one, Sharon's S21, with the plan to reduce cars, how will this affect our seniors? I think any senior that drives will be affected. It's not like they're going to outlaw cars. Everybody has the right to continue to drive. It's just what the goal is of the city. So they're going to continue to make it harder for people to drive. They're going to raise the prices on parking, they're going to reduce parking. They're going to raise the prices on parking. They're going to raise the prices on things like registering your car, your tags every year. So there's a cost to owning a vehicle, and that cost will continue to go up. What would the bike lane stop at the corner? It would stop before the corner. And no, it wouldn't go beyond that in the proposal that was presented at the ANC. DDOT's long-range plan is what I suggested, which is to provide as many cycle tracks and bike lanes as feasibly possible in order to help reduce traffic in the city by the year 2032. Mr. Ackerman's comment, I think, is subjective because I don't think people, actually there's no question here, it's a statement, but your statement is sort of determining who needs a car and who doesn't, and I don't think that's equitable at all. So, seniors and people with disabilities aren't the only people that need to drive, nor are they the only ones interested in driving. Just as bikers are interested in biking, some people intend to have a car and want to be able to continue to drive in the city. Incentivizing public transportation is good for health, environment, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, that is all true. And the bike trail to not be labeled as a forest for the scooters is an interesting comment. I hadn't heard that one before, David. So if that's something that's a problem, if you could send me an email about that, I would appreciate it. There you go.
Okay, you all, thank you so much, Allison, for that. We're gonna move on. And again, we're gonna have DDOT out on this issue and other issues as well. So please look out for that. The Development Task Force is currently working on getting that meeting scheduled. So thank you so much. We're going to keep the agenda moving because I think our speakers are here. I'm going to have Silas from Council Member Kenyon McDuffie's office. Silas, you're still on with us?
I am still on, and I'll be really, really, really brief. Good evening, everyone. Silas Grant, Senior Advisor in the Ward 5 Council Office. Thank you guys for having our office on the agenda again this month. Again, I'll be really, really brief. I think the last time I saw you all in person was at the event at the library. So thank you for that invitation as well. I'm here to listen and also here to answer any questions. I don't have any real report or update at this point, other than we're back in session with our ledge hearings. We have a ledge hearing tomorrow and a couple of more in the next few weeks. But again, I don't have any major things to report out specific to Lamond-Riggs, but I am here if anyone has any questions.
Okay, do we have any of our Ward 5 residents on the line that may have a question for Silas?
And I'll put my information in the chat as well for those who don't already have it.
Great, thank you.
This is
I'm
Robert.
sorry, is someone speaking?
Yeah, this is just a quick question. Silas, I'd asked you about a resolution. Are you guys still working on that, or what's the status?
I believe, did you want a digital copy or the hard print?
Hard print.
Okay, yeah, so we are still working on that. There was a delay during recess on the prints of the ceremonial. So we've got a number of ceremonials that are outstanding, but looking to get that printed later on this month. And I did talk to the council member about it because I think he told me you reached out to him as well. So we're looking to have a copy of that later this month. And if I remember correctly, your desire was to have that CR, that I'm calling it a CR, that's what we call it internally. Your desire was to have that ceremonial housed at the library, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So we're working to get that printed out later this month because again, we had a delay during recess, but we'll have that for you by the end of October.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome.
All right, thank you. Again, you all, please raise your hand when you want to speak. All right, so do we have any other ANC commissioners on? I don't think so, because I heard from most of them they would not be able to make it. All right, we're moving on. We have two speakers here today. The first speaker is President Ronald Mason. He is the president of UDC. And as you all know, we have a location, Bernie Bacchus, here in our community. They will soon be going through major renovations, and President Mason is here to tell us all about the renovations. President Mason.
Hello, good evening. Ronald Mason here. Thank you for giving me a chance to talk and to introduce myself. You know that we have moved our community college onto the Bertie Bacchus campus, the old Bertie Bacchus campus. And we're about to do some major planning and the master plan for that campus for the zoning commission. And so we want to get as much community input as we possibly can. We've hired a consultant to work with us. And we're going to have our first community meeting on October the 19th at 6:30. So please look out for that information coming out soon. We think we have a real opportunity to do something special at that site. One of the things we'd like input on is what to name it. You know, we have our Van Ness campus and we have our Old Congress Heights campus. And I'm thinking that this should be the Lamont-Riggs campus, but we want to make sure that we have the right neighborhood and name in place before we move forward. And so if you have any thoughts on that, please let us know. A couple of other questions were put to me in advance, so let me just sort of touch on those quickly. One, we do have a commercial kitchen coming up in the Bacchus facility. It'll be opening in the summer, and we'll be doing work there with our nutrition center on how to prepare food, how to dispose of food, and all things food and nutrition related. We also have a food truck that during the pandemic was basically delivering fresh vegetables from our organic farms, but we'll be using that in the future as well to do roaming demonstrations of how to prepare food and how to work with food, generally speaking. Having said that, happy to be a part of the community here now, and I'll answer any questions you may have. Let me mention also that I have my vice president for facilities, Javier Duson, is on. The Dean of the Community College, Dr. Marilyn Hamilton, is on, and Juanita Gray, who is our community relations specialist and works specifically with the ANCs, is on. And if you ever can't get me, any one of those three can answer questions in their areas. Any questions for me?
Okay, do we have any questions? Do we have any in the chat?
Yes, there's a question in the chat from Yushina. Can you repeat the date and time for the community meeting?
October 19th at 6:30 p.m.
Thank you.
We have a question from Robert Oliver.
Okay.
This is a very small question. This has to do with the banners that are hanging outside of the Backus campus. They've been out there for quite a while and they're weather beaten. Is there any chance that they can be replaced with new banners showing us, you know, some of the great artwork from UDC?
Yeah, in fact, we're replacing banners on all of our campuses. They are a little worn. And I can get you the exact time, but I know the banners have been ordered. I don't think they're in yet. And of course, ultimately, we'll be putting permanent signage up there similar to what we have on the Van Ness campus. I see a question, is the redevelopment funded for what fiscal year? The money is already in the budget. We'll be planning for about the next 6 months to 8 months. And then we expect to build an addition to the facility that's there now. So the money is already there and that will happen.
We have 3 more questions, one from Danielle Lewis-Wright.
Good evening. So just a follow-up question in terms of the planning. So we just heard the time frame there. The facility that is currently in place, is that going to be also redeveloped and then an annexed portion? So could you provide some insight on that?
Yes, so some of the facility that's there now has already been renovated, but some sections like the gymnasium and the cafeteria in the back, that remains to be renovated. And there is money to expand the facility with an addition. And so with the money we have in place, we'll be planning, we'll be renovating, and we'll be expanding, but the plan has not been visioned or developed yet. Does that answer your question?
It does. And just wanted to share that I know for our library, there was a lot of community input from LRCA, and I thought it was a really great approach, even from sharing the designs in advance and allowing for the public to provide comments, even from the perspective of we really like how this design melds with the community. And so hope we have that opportunity as well.
Absolutely. That's the idea.
We have another question from Rodney Foxworth.
Hey, how are you doing, sir? Good to
How are
see you again.
You too.
Listen, you probably know that LRCA took the leadership role in actually removing the Berkeley Backus campus from then Mayor Fenty's development portfolio. And we advocated that Berkeley Backus, through the Ward 5 council member, be used for UDC. So you guys have been there ever since. But I think that from time to time, there seems to be a disconnect between what UDC is doing and the needs of the larger community. So I encourage you to kind of stay close to us. If we have issues about youth development or employment opportunities or training opportunities or anything like that for youth or seniors, if you guys will partner with us and make sure that we always have materials about your programs to address those and your other related needs that we see as well.
Yeah, we're always looking for those opportunities. And in the chat, you see Juanita Gray at udc.edu. Anytime you see a chance for us to connect or work together or serve, just let us know and we'll do the best we can to make it happen.
Thank you.
The last on the floor, we have Zach Ammerman with a question.
Hi there. I live directly across the street from Bertie Backus, and I spent a lot of time looking at my window at your enormous roof on the across the street from me. I'm just wondering if I spent a lot of time wondering whether or not that could maybe be used for something. Have you ever considered maybe putting solar panels on the roof or turning it into some sort of like a green roof or potentially urban agriculture of some sort? I'm just wondering if that's something that's ever crossed your mind or if that's something that's ever been discussed. Anyway, thank you.
You know, it's funny. We have the largest rooftop organic garden in the district on the Van Ness campus. But I can honestly tell you what to do with the roof at Bacchus has never come up. But if you're going to be engaged in the process of thinking through the best use of that site, bring it up during the planning process. And it, you know, sounds like a good idea. I don't know what the mechanics of it are, but it's something worth talking about for sure.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
And one more from Mr. Oliver.
This is a very quick question. This has to do with, I guess, hydroponics and the fish that were on site at one time. Is that being brought back, and are changes being made to the program so that it can become, I guess, more sustainable?
Yeah, so there's a few things there. One, you know, we have the pod, which grows about an acre's worth of food in the back of a semi truck, basically, with a high-tech technology, and that's been funded by Pepco. So we're running power to that now. I don't know if it's finished yet, but that's going to be part of the site. We have the greenhouse with the aquaponics there. I'm not sure if the fish are still there. In fact, I don't believe that they are, because I was out there a while ago. I don't remember seeing them. At least I don't remember seeing the tanks full. But I think generally speaking, I think you're going to find more activity with organic food production, and that's going to become more and more of a demonstration site over time. We've also talked to some of the residents, and this was about a month ago when I was there, you know, about making the food that we grow more accessible to people in the community there, but also running tours of the work that we're doing there. And, you know, you'll see a lot of this starting to develop as time goes by.
All right, any other questions?
There are a couple in the chat. I'm not sure if we responded to this one. What will happen to the 911 memorial?
Okay, I'm not sure what, I don't have a context for that question. Is there a 911 memorial at the site now?
Mimi?
So I believe I'm just Mimi hadn't responded, but I think it was dedicated to one of the teachers, a teacher.
There was a teacher and
at
a
the site
student.
there?
Right, it was a teacher and a student that attended and worked at Verdi Bacchus that were on the flight that hit the Pentagon.
Oh my. You know, I don't see any reason why we would, if it's there, it'll stay there. I can say that much.
Okay.
And then what is the fiscal year capital development funding amount? It's spread out over 2 or 3 years, but the total amount is about $35 million for the renovation and expansion. Will we have a dedicated web page? Yes, there will be a web link dedicated to the master planning process. And so we have the specific work being done on the facility, but also that's a component of the 10-year master plan that we'll be putting together. And then do we offer senior citizen tuition program? We don't have special rates for senior citizens, but remember our workforce development programs are free to every district resident. And our community college is priced at about half of the price of the Van Ness campus. But you know, it's a thought that I'll put into the thinking cap and see if there's a market for it or a need. That's all that I see in the chat.
Okay, any other questions before we let Mr. Mason? I know that I did forward questions that were actually sent in by Danielle. We did cover all of her questions.
Yes, we did.
Okay, great. Any other questions? Well, I think you got enough questions, President Mason. Again, we thank you and all of your team that is currently on the call. We thank you, and we will definitely be in touch. If you have a flyer for the October 19th community event, if you could get it out to us and we could post it on our listserv to let the community, to remind the community of that meeting.
Yeah, we will do that. Let me also mention, you know, we're updating our strategic plan, and there's a survey that we're asking people to fill out about what they want to see the university become over the next few years. And so we'll get you that link, and if anybody's interested, go ahead and fill out the survey too, okay?
Great, great, great. Yeah, we definitely will. If you get it to us, we'll post it on our listserv.
You got it. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Okay.
All righty, now we have our second speaker, which is, it is no longer Carrie Stolfitz. We have Casey Dyson. Casey Dyson is the Government Relations and Public Funding Director for Food and Friends. And we do want to thank Food and Friends. They hosted us a couple of weeks ago at their site. And so we invited them to come out and kind of give an update. We haven't heard from Food and Friends in a few years. So Casey Dyson is going to provide us with an update of what's going on and how we might be able to volunteer there. Casey?
Thank you for that introduction, Barbara.
Sure.
I appreciate it very much. Carrie does send her regrets. She had another meeting she had to go to this evening. It's our busy time of year at Food and Friends, as you mentioned. I would like to give a little background about Food and Friends in case you don't know that much about it. I've been there just about 9 months and am trying to do some more community outreach. As you said, we've been kind of quiet for the past few years, mainly because we serve people who often have compromised immune systems. And so certainly during the pandemic, we wanted to make extra sure we were careful as we packaged food for people. So what we do is we prepare food for people who have severe illnesses. We have done that since we started in 1988 in a church basement. In 2001, we moved to the Lamond-Riggs neighborhood. And last year, we served over 600,000 meals to neighbors just like you around the DMV. So the District of Columbia, Maryland, Virginia. We serve clients who are referred to us from their local medical provider. So it can be a primary care physician, it can be someone from a community health center. It just needs to be a referral, and it's done no charge. So they're medically tailored meals that are specific to the illness that a person has. It helps them feel better, get well faster, and it brings a neighbor to them because they're home delivered from vans from volunteers and our staff. Let's see, what else can I tell you about them? Our volunteers come from all over the area. Last count, I did a quick count today. It looked like we had about 20 volunteers from the immediate zip code. We can't break down our volunteers by wards quite yet. We're trying to work on that. But we do rely on volunteers a lot. And as Barbara said, that's one reason why I'd like to just chat with you tonight, to encourage you to come volunteer with us at Thanksgiving. We, in addition to doing client meals every day, we do a special Thanksgiving meal to our clients where we home deliver a full Thanksgiving meal to them so that they can feel a little bit normal and don't have to do any work. And it's a really special time of year for our clients. So if you are interested in coming by, whether you'd like to stop in and say hi or come for a volunteer shift, we've got complete information on our website. And we do get kind of fun. And so since my camera's on, I'm going to show you, we can wear fun little turkey hats. If anybody wants to have fun when they're volunteering. And that's it. So does anybody have any questions?
All right, any questions for Casey Dyson about Food and Friends? You all are gonna let Casey off easy tonight, huh? Well, thank you so much. I appreciate.
We actually have a question from
we do?
Robert Oliver.
Okay.
Hello, Casey. How are you doing?
Good, Robert. How are you? Good to see you again.
Fantastic. No, I just wanted to tell everybody that I had a chance to tour the facility, and they do great work. As they've said, they prepare meals for those with compromised immune systems, obviously cancer patients and other type of patients. It all depends on what type of meal they need. For those who have a problem with ingesting food, they will puree it for those individuals. So everything is done per what the patient needs and what the doctor recommends. But I also want to say that I was really surprised at their reach. Yes, they do cover the DMV, but they go quite a bit into the state of Maryland. So I am really shocked at how much land these guys actually cover with just their volunteers. And I think that anybody who wants to get in on this program should definitely give it some thought. And that's all I have to say. Take care.
Thank you for that, Robert. That we're going to hire you to come put you out on the road and do some stumping for us. But that is true. In fact, last year we expanded and started shipping to Western Maryland. As many of you know, sometimes those rural counties don't have as many services as we have here in the urban centers. And so, like Robert said, our reach just keeps expanding.
We actually have another question from Rodney Foxworth.
Hi, Casey. I'm Rodney Foxworth. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. Listen, just two quick things for you. We had conversations with Carrie probably 2 years ago, year and a half ago, about her interest in expanding into the triangle that's beside you guys. So can you talk a little bit about that? And the second question is, according to at least the 2010 census, about a third of this neighborhood are folks that are 54 years and older. Can you talk a little bit about if you guys are connected to some of the organizations in Lamond-Riggs and allowing them to kind of be your eyes and ears for seniors who need your services but are not part of your clientele yet?
So I will try to answer both of those. The first is, I think the triangle you're referring to is the park space that
Yes.
we're talking about for as part of the survey.
Yes.
And as I understand it, because I wasn't here when we first put the building in, originally our building was on the edge of the street, and then they got rid of kind of that, I've heard it called a speedway. And so
The ramp.
the ramp. So the green space was put in, and I think that's the triangle part now that you're referring to.
Right.
And so our space, as we saw when you guys came out 2 Saturdays ago, our space goes to roughly the heritage trees, and then that park space that you're talking about trying to figure out which one to do with is beyond that. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, so you guys are still trying to figure out if that's a part of your future plans for expansion.
The park space is
City owned.
Correct.
city owned. So I'm
Yes.
sorry, I guess I'm not understanding the question.
At one point, I spoke to Carrie and she said that you guys were considering expanding your footprint and expanding into the public space there. So I just wanted to know if you had any sense of where Food and Friends might be in that regard.
I don't think that that's under
Yeah.
consideration. We certainly are bursting at the seams at our current building. In fact, in DC alone, we've more than doubled our client base in the last 5 years. But in terms of the physical footprint, I don't think anything is set in stone, and we're just trying to figure out what the best option is. So
Okay.
Yeah, and Rodney, in talking to her a couple of weeks ago, no, that is not in their plan to go into that space that is owned by the government. So
Good.
no.
And Casey, what are your thoughts about, are there better ways that you guys can connect with some of the organizations in Lamond to service the senior population?
Absolutely, and we're open to suggestions. I must admit, I'm not a DC resident, so I'm a little bit less familiar. The things I learn are through you guys and walking around in the neighborhood. So if there are specific groups that you'd like us to try to connect with, I'd be happy to hear those. I'll stick my information in the chat here today. But we do, I know we have reached out and donated some food to the local, I want to make sure I get the name right, the Ward 5 Mutual Aid Hub. I'm not
Right.
sure if that's where seniors frequent, but if there are other senior groups that we can reach out to, that would be wonderful. Be happy to do that.
I'll get your information from the chat. There are a number of senior groups and number of current food banks who could use some assistance from you guys as well.
Okay, yes, absolutely. That would be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any more questions for Casey? Anything in the chat? Are you in need of volunteers from Karima Wade? Yes, definitely, right?
Absolutely. We are, Karima, you can either send me an email and I can be happy to send you more information, or just if you go to our website, foodandfriends.org, there's a click that you can do for volunteers, and it contains complete information there. We have a volunteer orientation this Thursday at lunchtime, as well as 2 others this month. They're virtual. And that's the first step in volunteering with us.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Casey. And I think Deborah put a note in there in response to Rodney. She said, Carrie says the 2.5 acres they have is enough for their expansion, and they're not looking at that green space. Thank you so much, Deborah, for that. But thank you, Casey. We really, really appreciate all you do, you know, in our community, and any way that we can partner and be of service with you, please let us know, okay?
Same here. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Okay, we're moving right along. I think we're gonna move to Edwin Washington. As you all know, Edwin is probably gonna brag a little bit about the successful Art All Night event that took place in our community. And if you didn't come out, you really missed a great, great event. Edwin Washington, if you don't know, is the executive director of the Parks Main Street. Edwin?
Yes, good evening. You know, we're always of the mind to let others speak about how things went, but we think they went very good with Art All Night. We want to thank everyone who did come out with us for Art All Night. We did have 6 locations, 4 of which were in Riggs Park, and 3 of them had some very good response in traffic. That would have been Hellbender Brewery, where we had a comedy show in addition to an earlier open mic that went extremely well. At Troca Insurance, my office is at the Troca Insurance parking lot area there. I'm on the 2nd floor. And we turned that into food, fun, and games, and it turned out real well. We had our food and beverages there. We had Cooks and Chefs, which is a local soul food, well, I should say comfort food business that did very well. We also had funnel cakes, which personally I don't like, but the funnel cakes sold out. They had a great time there. So that worked out well. And certainly the hub, Culture Coffee too, we had a lot of involvement there, a lot of activity as we have in the past. This is our 2nd year that we did this live. And then of course over at Riggs Wine and Liquor, we had the tastings that we had last year in the front. We weren't able to in time to secure a permit for them. So the tastings were inside. We did have some Latino music there, Venezuelans and other type of activities there. But we got to do more for that particular spot. That's the 2nd year in a row we haven't had as much traffic. Over in Manor Park, the VIP room, we had 2 locations, the VIP room and the corner of 3rd and Sheridan. The VIP room was all jazz. We had good response there. A lot of folks came there. We had local talent. We had a fashion show from Lovely Lady Boutique, which has a 30-year being there in Manor Park. And we had three art workshops. We had over 30 performers. And we had talent in both vendors and performances and artists that live in Manor Park and Riggs Park, or who frequent Riggs Park, where they work at. In particular, Shalita Settles. She had a fantastic set over at the VIP room. But overall, we had 20 volunteers that assisted with us this year, which was great. Last year, we did not have as many, but I think folks saw what the success of last year. We just built on it. We certainly are going to be starting to plan for 2023 now. We did look at, and we're in the final stages of putting a report together for the city that shows impact. And that impact would be the type of revenue that was generated during that 4-hour time span for the small businesses as well as the vendors. And then, of course, looking at traffic that were for the small businesses, the vendors, and there's this overall, the number of people that assisted. I will say that participated. I will say that our social media, our largest day that we've ever had in terms of visits was on Art All Night on September 23rd. We had over 2,012 visitors to our website. We like to think that it had to do with the type of social media that we put out and folks wanting to know more about the festival on the day of. And we had our largest month of ever our activity and visits to our site as well, the month of September, with over 5,000 different folks who went to our website. So it was a great time. We think we're going to continue to build upon it. I would say in response to what Chrissy was, question with Chrissy related to reaching out to the organizations, though we don't specifically work through seniors, but the Parks Main Street also attended that event at the Food and Friends, and we've continued to build a relationship. They do want to be involved with Art All Night last year. We had some attempts the last 2 years, and just some of it was timing and the like. But we had a great time. We certainly always looking for volunteers ourselves to assist as we begin to plan for Small Business Saturday coming up right after Thanksgiving. And then we're looking to our holiday lights in terms of decorating the businesses. We'd like to see if there's a way we can extend that, working with the Lamond-Riggs Citizens Association, into the community, so that there can be some ways in which folks are lighting up their neighborhoods. One thing I will share about our results from 2022, which ended September 30th, we did give out $52,000. Commissioner Brooks, that's an update since our meeting last week with the 4B. But over 12, we did give 52,000 in grants and technical assistance to 21 small businesses that are within our corridor. And our corridor is Galloway, South Dakota, and Galloway up to 2nd Street Northeast, where right at the Hellbenders, where the hill is, where New Hampshire Avenue is at the top, and then from the Metro Bridge on Riggs Road to Chilling Place, and then about a mile, a little more than 3/4 of a mile away in Manor Park in Coolidge, by Coolidge High School on 3rd Street, the 6200 block at 3rd Street. That is our other part of our Main Street. We are the only Main Street that is not contiguous, where they're not in the intersection. So in our attempts to communicate that there is one Main Street, but two distinct neighborhoods, from one that is in mass development now, where Riggs Park is, and then one that Manor Park that has been a staid community, long-time businesses, 40+ years or so. So that's why we certainly always looking for folks to assist us in our communication and promotion of these particular two business corridors. Our organization committee, which helped us with bylaws and making sure we're fundraising and working with volunteers, as well as looking at our design committee that has to do with wayfinding and placemaking. We're looking to work along with LRCA and its development task force to assist in doing some things as it relates to the community benefit agreement. And then finally, but most important as it relates to our committees and the 4-point approach by National Main Street, is the economic vitality of the businesses. And the ways in which we do that is, one, the grants and technical assistance we provide, and then also bringing events like Art All Night, hosted by the Parks Main Street and the Art Crawl, which is brainchild of Veronica Cooper with Culture Coffee. This was our 4th year working with, partnering with her on that. It's 5th year of the Art Crawl. That's in July. So we're excited as we continue to close out 2022, and I'll be providing more information in terms of our impact. And but that's what I have. And again, thank you so much for everyone for coming out. We're always looking for ideas about how to improve. Thank you, Barbara Rogers, for being on our debrief meeting this afternoon. It was very useful for us to get that type of impact. Others wanted to be a part of the meeting. We just weren't able to attend because of work and the like. But we feel that we continue to work with the community and folks like Food and Friends, Lamond-Riggs Citizens Association. We certainly work with the Modern, and we met with President Mason along with the community a couple months back, and we talked about the impact of small businesses, their relationship that they have with the Van Ness Main Street, which is at their campus there, and how we're looking to develop that and deepen that relationship with us so that we can help the small businesses in particular. But we do think the community is important, and we say art, community, and commerce. That was the convergence of Art All Night, with the community being the connector between art and commerce. So thank you very much, President Rogers.
All right. Thank you so much, Edwin. It was a great event. As I said, if you missed it, you can look forward to it next year. They did a great job, and it was just a great event. Any questions for Edwin before we move on? I see that Yushina says, great job on Art All Night, Edwin. So
I'll
yep.
put my information in the chat. Is again, we got what's coming up is design, placemaking, and wayfinding, and we have received some inquiries from those in the community that have design expertise that want to be a part of working with us, and then certainly working through the Lamond-Riggs Citizens Association for building up and making sure that the community is secure, lighting, and have the kind of events that gather people to a location.
Okay. Again, thank you so much, Edwin, for the update, and he'll put in the chat his contact information. Right now, we're gonna move over and talk about something that was in my president's message. The LRCA's Development Task Force, we have 2 spaces for you all who don't know, under I think Yushina Evans as president of LRCA. There was a negotiation with EYA for community benefit agreement with LRCA. And so there was a discussion about several spaces, one being the space that is currently in front of Food and Friends that Rodney referenced. So there was a meeting at Food and Friends a couple of weeks ago, and we did have neighbors or residents that came through, and there were tours of the site. And there is a survey that you can go to voice, your ideas on what that space can be used for. Mr. Oliver was nice enough to actually help facilitate that meeting. So I'm going to ask Mr. Oliver to talk a little bit about the survey and any upcoming events. Mr. Oliver?
Yes, thank you, Barbara. On September 24th, we had what we called a site experience event, where we asked neighbors and members of the community to come down to the area, which is just across the street from the Chick-fil-A, is at the southwest corner of the intersection of Riggs Road and South Dakota Avenue. Basically, it's 1.5 acres in size, and it's a triangular shape. And basically what it encompasses is the old ramp and all of the sidewalk that used to be part of the old South Dakota Avenue. All that's become green space now. So basically, starting in 2017, at citizens' request, the ANC 5A created a resolution that in which we asked for the green space to be transferred from DDOT to DPR. Along the way, the CBA was executed with EYA, which is what Barbara had mentioned. And 2021, language was incorporated into the DC Comprehensive Plan, which gave us footing to move forward. And then again on September 24th, 22, that's when we had the site experience. It was a great time at the site experience. We had a chance to show people the property, give them a chance to think. This was basically a self-directed effort where an individual came, they walked the property and gave thought to what they think would be the most appropriate use for that area. And they filled out a survey then. We do have surveys online. They are at www.lrcadc.org. And you also have hard copies available. Hard copies are available at the Lamond-Riggs William J. Huff Library, the Riggs LaSalle Recreation Center, and the Lamond Recreation Center. The deadline for the survey will be October 15th. So make sure you get everything in once you've completed these surveys. What we're going to do is take that information, collate it, and try to discern what people actually want. And then once we do so, then we will come back to the body and then have them give us their thoughts on what the top picks would be. There's also another piece to this in that once we've settled down on the options we would like to present, EYA has agreed through the CBA to do what they call a visioning session, where they will get their artists to provide a rendition of what our thoughts would look like in that space. And then that will allow us to have documentation in hand should we need to discuss this further with members of the city government. So that's pretty much what happened or what will happen. And in addition, as was said earlier, because of what DDOT is doing with what they call the trailhead coming off of the Metropolitan Branch Trail, we need to get together with them and hear their thoughts as to what they would like to do in that same space. So a meeting is being arranged. It has not been scheduled yet, but when it is, I will certainly make it aware to Barbara and the leadership of LRCA. If there are any questions, I would be happy to answer them, those that I can answer.
Any questions for Mr. Oliver? And for any residents that are new, please sign up for our listserv. And I thank Zach. Zach put the link in the chat. Thank you so much, Zach, for that. The link is in the chat for the survey. So we're going to encourage everybody to do the survey. Again, if you can't do it online, you can go to the Lamond Rec Center, the Riggs LaSalle Rec Center. You can go to the library. So and if you can't get out and you need us to bring you a survey, you can always, just give us a call and we will drop a survey off to you. We don't want to leave anybody out. We want, to be inclusive for everybody. So if you can't get out, you need a survey, you can always call me. I'll bring your survey. It's not a problem. Any questions for Mr. Oliver at this time? And again, there will be a future meeting with DDOT. We're hoping to, again, take this information from the survey to DDOT to say this is what we want in our community. So please participate and be a part of the, what will be in that space. Any questions for Mr. Oliver? Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Oliver. Is Miss Shalita Settles on the line?
I am.
Hi, Miss Settles. Thank you so much for
How
coming.
are
Miss Settles
you?
is gonna let us know of some of the great things that are going on at Riggs LaSalle. And I did just want to mention that there's a new site manager at the Lamond Recreation Center. And I did have the pleasure of speaking with her last week. Her name is Essie Bowman. Miss Settles,
Yes.
you probably know her, I'm sure.
Yes. Essie Bowman.
Yes,
Right.
yes. So she's the new site manager over there for my Lamond residents. And I can put her name and her phone number in the chat. But Ms. Settles is here to let us know of some great events going on at the Riggs LaSalle Rec Center.
So I think some of you have in the newsletter, right?
Yes.
Correct? Okay.
Yeah,
I
we
think,
have just a few. We didn't have space for all of them, but we do have the senior meetup, which is a daily meetup, and we have the senior fitness meeting, which is Tuesday, Friday, 12:30, and then the
yes.
Halloween event.
Yes. So we have the Halloween event on Halloween night. We're looking for volunteers to help bag candy and to assist with the holiday activities for that day, games, prizes. We usually take the children for a walk in the community around the block so that they can also have the trick or treat experience. So a lot of times parents will accompany us with that. The seniors who are participating in the fitness programs and the day programs, they are going to Annapolis Thursday for lunch and to just have a little Annapolis excursion. That trip is full. Some of the seniors went on the Spirit of Washington. Well, it was the Spirit of Baltimore last Friday. They had a great time. It was an intergenerational trip. I heard there was some confusion about the date, but it was held on Friday. We have 10 signed up right now for council members Ward 4 Jubilee. That will be going on October 19th, and transportation will leave the recreation center. And we still have our core programs, our Young Ladies on the Rise, that will kick off on the 15th of October. We're still looking for young girls that are the age 6 to 12 for participation. We have our Young Men Future Leaders, same age 6 to 12, that meet on Mondays, and our teen program. So we will again start our teen internship where the teens will get paid $10 an hour, and they will work, I think, 10 hours a week. We had that program last year and did very well. I think we had like 19 teens that participated in that program. It's called In-School Internship. Are there any questions? Oh, we still have our senior computer program on Fridays at 1:00.
Right. And is Donald still doing an exercise program? I thought he was
Yes.
doing something. Donald
Yes,
was.
Donald does. He facilitates the senior. Am I on? Maybe this is. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. So Donald facilitates the senior Easy Does It exercise programs on Tuesdays and Fridays at 12:30. Okay. And we have a more advanced class for adults on Wednesdays, Mondays and Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. Cardio is called strength and conditioning for those who want to step it up a little bit. Are there any other questions?
Any questions for Ms. Settles? Ms. Settles, thank you so much. I know you've worked all day. Thank you so much for providing us an update. I just think it's important because we need for our community to know that we do have events at our rec centers. So
We actually have a question from Rodney Foxworth.
I have a
question.
Hey, Shalita, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Good, good, good. Listen, I don't have a question. I just wanted to say, and Barbara kind of beat me to the punch, that I've known for a while that you guys do great work at the rec center and your senior programs are coming along really nicely. So I just want to commend you guys for all the great work that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Right.
And
We're always a work in progress, always.
We have another question from Sherry.
Next question.
Ms. Mack.
Yes, I just wanted to elaborate. We're doing a good job at the rec center, Ms. Settles, but also every third Saturday we have a food giveaway
Yes,
that Ms.
I
Settles
mentioned-
has at
yes,
the
yes.
rec center. Ms. Settles, would you like to announce that, please?
Yes, I said that before getting on, so I have to remember to announce that every third Saturday is food giveaway. You just come and there's no sign up. You just come and pick up food. It's under Andre Lee. I think it's Andre Lee's Little League food.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Satchel Paige
Yeah.
Little League.
Mm-hmm. They have the senators as well. So they give away food every third Saturday.
I helped out with 2 Saturdays ago. It was a great event.
And the time, Ms. Settles?
The time is, I think, 9 to 1.
No, it's 11, I believe.
Oh, 11. That's right. 11 to 1. He was showing up at 9 and then going back to get the food. It's 11 to 1.
Yeah.
11 to 1. So
Okay.
Miss Mack is very much involved. She's always been so wonderful, helping to serve our community and helping a lot at the recreation center. She brings us supplies for back to school, and she's always coming and bringing some food, or she's always got a bag of something. But we're always very grateful for it. So thank you so much again, Miss Mack. And I want to thank Art All Night, and thank you to Riggs Park, who came out and supported when I performed at Art All Night in by the VIP room. Yeah, that's where it was. So thank you so much for your support.
Outstanding job, Sister Salita. Thank you. We're so glad we were able to get you after 2 years of trying. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, Ms. Settles is in demand.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right, any other questions for Ms. Settles? All right, thanks again, Ms. Settles. We are now gonna we have any committee chairs that want to provide an update? I know that Tisha, and I do want to say that for us to, wish good thoughts to Miss Mack, Reverend Mays, Reverend Mays, who is at the emergency room. She sounded okay, but just send her positive thoughts, as well as LaRoya Huff, who has been under the weather as well. But we're gonna move on to any committee chairs have updates. I know that Tish had something on the bylaws.
Did you want me to go now?
Yes, please.
Okay, hello everyone. I am Tisha Cockrell. I am chair of the bylaws committee. We had a couple of meetings over the summer, very small meetings. We're going to kick back in gear on next week. I'd like to be sure we're working with the communications committee so that we can go ahead and send out a meeting invite somewhere during the middle to the end of the week in regards to our bylaws committee meeting. We are still picking out our attorneys and completing some of the requirements, and then we'll be able to present to the larger body. And that's it. If you haven't noticed, that's the Friends of logo since I'm here.
Oh, okay.
And that's all for me. Thanks so much.
All right. Well, thank you, Tish. That is a big undertaking. It has been years since the bylaws have been updated. So it is long overdue, and we are hoping to get that done, by next year. And I see some names that I am not familiar with. And so I just want to encourage you to come back next month, to join a committee, and get involved. If you're a new resident in the community, or if you're a long-standing resident in the community, continue to stay engaged, continue to support LRCA. We've had some great presidents in the past that have done great work to keep this organization going. And so we do need people to step up and get involved. And yeah, just continue to support LRCA. I'll say it again, it is time to pay your dues. So please log on to our website and pay your dues. Danielle, did you have anything you want to say on your health committee?
Thanks, Barbara. I just wanted to share with people that if you have any ideas about what you would like to see us cover from the health side, then please let us know. And we're happy to bring in the right people to provide input on any health-related matters. So just wanted to share that.
Okay. Reverend Paul, are you still on? He has been doing an excellent job with our bereavement, reaching out to residents that, have passed on. Reverend Paul,
Yes.
did you have anything you want to say?
No, I just want to, first of all, it's good to hear that everyone is well. And during the summer, I just received, well, the team received just only, I believe, 2 death notifications, and we're hoping not to receive any in this season, but we certainly would encourage everyone to stay safe and stay well, and continue to support each other.
Exactly.
Thank
Well, that is all I have. Did anyone have anything else before we actually adjourn? Again, I want to encourage you to join a committee. I see a hand up from Edwin, and I see a hand up from Mrs. Mack. Ladies first, Mrs. Mack.
Hello, yes, I would like to just put the announcement out that at every third Thursday at LaSalle Elementary School, the Food and Friends program will begin again. However, they will not be out front with the boxes since the pandemic is really over for them. You have to come around to the school on the inside at 4:30 p.m. and they're looking for volunteers. So it will start again on October the 20th, every third Thursday. And you have to come inside the school, and it would not be boxes that they passed out before. There will be boxes that's been made up from the company.
Okay. Thank you so much. Edwin
You're welcome.
Washington.
Yes, thank you very much for recognizing. I just thought I'd be remiss if not sharing the local Riggs Park businesses that provided financial support or in-kind support to the Art All Night hosted by the Parks Main Street. The first I'd like to say is Chick-fil-A. Certainly their corporate name is Fort Cotton, but he said that we can use on anything we put out Chick-fil-A Riggs Park. So I want to give them, Mr. Thompson, a shout out. Also to Sidar Printing. That is a business that is actually behind the Chick-fil-A going up 3rd Street. They've been there for about 8 years, minority owned CBE business. They've done a terrific job. They printed some of our booklets, our fantastic t-shirts that we had that were tie-dyed and reverse tie-dyed were done by Unities, which they are a company that is here, local minority company that's up by Hellbenders Brewery. And then lastly, Riggs Park Place, they again supported us financially for the Art All Night. So I just wanted to recognize them and that our In addition to certainly the Commission on Arts and Humanities, the DC Main Street, the Department of Small Local Business Development, and the Center for Nonprofit Advancement, and certainly Mayor Bowser's office. We are finalizing our annual report for 22, so we will be getting our annual report and sharing that with everyone probably sometime by the end of this month or beginning of November. Thank you for additional time, President Rogers.
All right, thank you so much. And something else I do want to mention is that we all know that we will be voting soon. It is that time of the year. We attempted to, we had a very successful mayoral and Ward 5 candidates forum. And we attempted to do it for the at-large members. However, just schedules did not coordinate, but I do want to just say to people to please, exercise your right to vote, get informed, and be a part of the process. We have 2 more hands and then we are going to adjourn. We have Clarence Lee. Mr. Lee, did you have a community concern?
No, just what I spoke to you earlier about, if it's okay.
Well, yeah, Mr. Lee is actually on the ballot for Ward 5, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and as I said, we had a candidates forum, but Mr. Lee, we'll let you just introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Clarence Lee. I'm running for the Ward 5 City Council on the Republican ticket. I'm just the Lamond-Riggs Civic Association actually gave me my first employment when I was 11 years old. So my mother lives there in Riggs Park. I live in the Trinidad area. Just been active as an ANC commissioner in the Trinidad area, and just wanted to get more out of the city council because I felt disenfranchised. So I'm just want to introduce yourself. Like I say, my mother's still there. I was born and raised on Jefferson Street, actually born at Providence Hospital. So I've been in Ward 5 all my life. So just want to let you people know that, because this community is still important to me, because this is where my foundation was started. So in this city and doing civic service, watching my parents and all the other, like she said, the past great Lamond-Riggs Civic Association presidents, which did include my father at one time, Clarence Sr. I know all the old people that were there that are now long gone, just like my father passed away. But just knowing that I would like Ward 5 and Jefferson Street mostly support, since that's where I grew up. Thank you, Ms. Rogers.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lee. He did not participate in the Ward 5 candidates forum that we previously held. So Rodney Foxworth, that will be our last community concern. Rodney?
Hey, I just want to let folks know that a group of us have been working with LaRoya and Council Member Janice Lewis George to address the group homes that are on 3rd Street. They're on 3rd Street near Nicholson Street on that corner. And specifically the rodent issue, it's been bad, it's always been bad. And with LaRoya's help and some of the things we've done in the past, we've been able to work with DOH that came and did some abatement, but it's at the point now, and it's actually been at the point that we need to talk to the owners of the properties and the owners of those businesses and to the city agencies that provide oversight to them and, quite frankly, provide funding. Because when we've approached the staff in there, they've been very dismissive of our concerns about how that place is kept. Open containers of food, the trash cans spill all open. It's like a restaurant for rodents at those 2 addresses every week. So I just want folks to know about that because they kind of influence the growth of rodents in this part of the neighborhood as well.
Okay, thank you. And you all know on this call, if there are any, you can do 311. I just did a 311 for my light is out in front of my house. So yeah, just use 311. Another thing I will suggest that if once you get your confirmation What I do, I will send it to Allison, and then she will follow up with her contact. So LaRoya could probably actually do the same thing. And I do want to mention for rodents, Miss Mack is like awesome with that. She has them out, I think, all summer in her alley. So we do need a lot more people that are advocates for their street, like Miss Mack is for her street. But that is all we have. I want to thank you all so much for, again, taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us. And again, I will just say, please pay your dues, stay engaged, join a committee. For anyone new, join a committee. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good night.
Good night.
Night, everyone.
Good night.